from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
A pleasant evening and a very warm welcome to the national news of Rupavahini Channel I. I'm Dilanjali Anand. Joining me is Ovin Hettiarachi. And these are the top stories which have made headlines for tonight. President says Japan has agreed to co-chair the debt restructuring summit with Sri Lanka's creditors. Debate on the 22nd constitutional amendment postponed till 18th and 19th. Sri Lanka Central Bank decides to maintain the standing deposit facility rate and the standing lending facility rate at their current levels. Public appreciation for the government's move to reduce gas prices. Foreign Minister categorically rejects the new resolution against Sri Lanka at the 51st session of the UN Human Rights Council. The resolution passes at the UNHRC with 20 votes in favour and 7 against. The Health Minister emphasises that the controversial cough syrup is not imported to Sri Lanka.
Now on to those and more stories in detail. On today's top story, President Ranil Wickremesinghe says Japan has to agree to co-chair the debt restructuring summit with Sri Lankan creditors. The president has also indicated that both Singapore and Sri Lanka have directed attention onto enforcing Singapore-Sri Lanka Free Trade Agreement.
While delivering a special statement in the Parliament today, President Wickremesinghe said that immediate steps will be taken to restructure the Sri Lankan Airlines, Ceylon Petroleum Corporation and Ceylon Electricity Board.
President
Ranil Wickremesinghe said that the country is facing the worst economic crisis in its history and the government is ready to overcome the challenge even in the face of global economic and food crises. President Ranil Wickremesinghe invited all parties to join the country's rebuilding program irrespective of their personal grudges of the past. The president, introducing a fourfold strategic plan to recover from the crisis, said that the first step has already been successful. The foundation is being laid to make the second step a success, he added. The president said that he had the opportunity to exchange views with the state leaders during the visits to the United Kingdom and Japan recently. He said that he also had the opportunity to meet the finance ministers of the countries where the Asian Development Bank operates during his visit to the Philippines. These meetings and exchange of views are of pivotal importance to overcome the economic crises faced by the country at present. Today, the country's economy and financial condition are not at a sound level. The president said that some political parties and groups are still working under the assumption that the country is in a sound state. They make their comments, criticisms as well as make their proposals under the same assumption. He said that no one can assume that the economy has come back to normal since the fuel queues are over. He added that the country is facing the most serious economic crisis our country has ever faced in recent history. He said that he explained the strategy to overcome this crisis on many occasions. He pointed out that reaching a staff-level agreement with the International Monetary Fund, reaching a common agreement on debt restructuring with countries including Japan, India and China and private creditors who have extended loans, thereafter stabilizing the economy by obtaining loan assistance from the IMF and other countries after certification from the International Monetary Fund, working to raise the country's economy to a developed level through a general plan after stabilizing the economy is the required strategy at present. He also pointed out at the initiation that they should strive to fulfill these 4 factors. He added that depending on the success of this first step, the second step could be made successful, and only once the second step is made successful, the third could be made successful, and so on. He said that they have made the first stage successful and the preparations are being made at the foundation level to make the second stage a success. Under such situation, the president said that they have the opportunity to exchange their views with the state leaders. In addition, President Wickremesinghe pointed out that they had the opportunity to meet the finance ministers of 68 member countries of the Asian Development Bank in Manila. During these meetings, he added that he had the opportunity to discuss with the Prime Minister of Singapore, Lee Hsien Loong. The free trade agreement the country inked with Singapore was not functioning properly in the past, he further added. President Wickremesinghe urged that if they are able to reenact this agreement, the benefit the country would enjoy would be enormous. This agreement will also be instrumental to strengthen our economy's ties with Southeast Asia. The Prime Minister of Singapore expressed confidence that Though the implementation of these agreements, it will be possible to obtain a stable economic approach with Sri Lanka, he added. President Wickremesinghe said that he also had a dialogue with representatives of Japan International Cooperation Agency and Japan International Cooperation Bank. The representatives of both the institutions assured their support to expand investments in Sri Lanka. He further said that he met with Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. During the discussion, he said that they focused on the number of important issues affecting our two countries. In addition, discussions were held with the Japanese Foreign Minister as well as with the Japanese Finance Minister, he added. Japan's agreement to play a leading role as a mediator in the debt restructuring process of Sri Lanka is a good sign, the president emphasized. He said that due to some recent incidents, the goodwill between Japan and US has been strained. Therefore, he said that they strived hard to re-strengthen the bonds with Japan during the past few months. Now, he said that they have a green light from them. He also said that they preserve to restore the friendship we had with Japan earlier. The president said that they already have commenced the preliminary discussion with China. Following the Chinese Communist Party convention, he added that they will recommence discussions with China. It is significant that Japan has agreed to mediate to discuss the debt restructuring program with China, he added. President Wickremesinghe said that China has been supporting the country since ancient times and the government hoped they would do the same at this critical juncture. He also pointed out that the discussions with India are in progress. The president said he briefed the Sri Lanka's current situation to Indian PM Modi in Japan. He extended their gratitude to India and Prime Minister Modi for the support extended during the difficult time in the recent past. He said that the government received a positive response from PM Modi to overcome the economic crisis. President Wickremesinghe said that they strive to obtain the maximum benefit to Sri Lanka by meeting state leaders from the UK, Japan, the Philippines, representatives from international organizations and finance ministers. He pointed out that they would have spent an enormous amount of money and time to exchange views separately if they were to meet individually. It is a rare opportunity for them to meet all of the relevant state and other leaders at a particular place within a limited period of time, he added. The president also said that the Asian Development Bank has expressed its willingness to provide them with a loan of $500 million. He added that after obtaining the IMF certificate, the government will be able to obtain bridging finance facilities from financial institutions such as the World Bank, the Asian Development Bank. Simultaneously, the opportunity to obtain bilateral loans will be possible by negotiating with other countries that provide credit facilities, he added. President Wickremesinghe said that they have requested the International Development Association to assist the country to obtain concessional financing as Sri Lanka currently lacks the creditworthiness to borrow on market terms from World Bank or any other institution. He said that the economy of the country collapsed completely due to the economic policies maintained in the recent past as well as due to the global crisis. The burden can no longer be placed on the people, he added. Therefore, the president said that they will restructure these institutions and bring them to a state where they will not be burdened to the country. Agriculture and food production collapsed due to the short-sighted approach to the fertilizer policy, he added. As a result of the fall in food production, the president said that the prices of goods in the local market have increased. During the last few months, the president added that the government implemented the necessary measures to control the rise in inflation. These problems cannot be solved overnight, he further added. While giving preliminary attention to agricultural activities, President Wickremesinghe said that the government has launched a rapid food production program. He said that they are aware that some parts of the country are suffering from food shortages. The program is now in place to identify those individual parts at the rural level, he added. President Wickremesinghe said that they expect to ensure food safety through these identifications. He pointed out that the government has taken measures to prevent the shrink of the economy and the increase of the inflation fuel prices at a level that consumers can bear. He emphasized that all parliamentarians can achieve their political goals only if the country recovers from this economic crisis. However, he pointed out that there are individuals who hope to gain political benefits by destroying the country day by day and putting it deeper into crisis. President Wickremesinghe invited all to join this process and face the challenge together for the sake of the country.
Now, the debate over the special statement made by President Ranil Wickremesinghe in the Parliament was taken up today. The Speaker took steps to postpone the debate on the 22nd constitutional amendment, which was scheduled for today until October 18th and 19th. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena, addressing the Parliament, said that the 22nd constitutional amendment has a background and a precedent. Accordingly, he said that they conducted successful discussions with the opposition leader, MPs Rauf Hakim, Mano Ganeshan and a group of representatives over this matter yesterday. He also said the discussions were held with other political party leaders as well. Accordingly, he said that they received a positive outcome from these discussions. However, only MP Lakshman Kiriyala is against this decision. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka Posjana Peramuna MP Professor Ranjit Bandara has been appointed as the new chairman of the COPE. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka decides to maintain the standing deposit facility rate and the standing lending facility rate at their current level of 14.5% and 15.5% respectively.
The relevant decision was taken at the meeting of the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka yesterday. In arriving at this decision, the Central Bank has indicated that the board considered the latest macroeconomic conditions, expected developments and macroeconomic projections. The board noted that the tight monetary conditions prevailing at present, the decelerating pace of the inflation and the envisaged disinflation path in the near term supported by both domestic and global factors. The board was of the view that the monetary conditions remain sufficiently tight to achieve the envisaged disinflation path in the period ahead. The board expects the domestic economic activity to remain subdued during 2022 before recovering in 2023. The contractionary fiscal policies would complement the effects of tight monetary policy measures already in place, helping to mitigate any build-up of aggregate demand pressures, thereby anchoring inflation expectations and bringing down headline inflation to the targeted level of 4 to 6% over the medium term. The central bank said it will continue to monitor macroeconomic conditions, expected developments on the domestic and global fronts, stand ready to make measures swiftly and proactively as appropriate.
Thank you. I think, as you all know, we reached the staff level agreement, I think, 1st of September. And since then, you all know, we had basically several steps towards that. That's where we started the debt restructuring process and approaching and discussing with creditors, external creditors. There was one major event was that we made a presentation, a global presentation to all the creditors, giving the information that we can share at that point, and that was starting point, and in between we had several bilateral and consultation with financial advisors and also technical meetings with bilateral partners and as well as representatives of the commercial creditors. Now we are in the process of having these discussions going forward. So I think 21st of last month we had this 23rd presentation, and then in between also His Excellency President went to Japan, had meetings with Japanese authorities. In Manila at the ADB meetings, he had meetings with some of the representatives, bilateral creditors representatives, and that process will continue. In between there have been meetings with Minister of Finance, the authority to negotiate relevant bilateral creditors and their representatives, and we will continue that discussion going forward. When you go to the IMF annual meetings on the sidelines, we would expect to continue that process with relevant parties going forward. Really, we know IMF has not communicated anything on that front. I saw this statement by, I think, UN, some council there. Basically, central bank authorities have not been informed of anything, whether that's going to affect. In my answer, there's separate UN, this council or resolution, and IMF, World Bank, all this discussion, it's a different process. We haven't seen any link.
The public has appreciated the government's initiative to reduce the domestic gas rates. Little Gas Company decided to reduce the domestic gas prices from midnight yesterday. Accordingly, the price of 12.5 kilogram litro gas cylinder has been reduced by 271 rupees and is now available at a new rate of 4,280 rupees. The price of 5 kilogram gas cylinder has been reduced by 107 rupees and the new rate is 1,720 rupees. The new rate of 2.3 kilogram gas cylinder is at 800 rupees after being reduced by 48 rupees. Meanwhile, Canteen Owners Association has indicated that steps will be taken to reduce the rate of tea and milk tea by 10 rupees from tomorrow onwards following the gas price revision. The Ceylon Petroleum Corporation said that the statement and evidence presented by parliamentarian Dayasiri Jayasekara during a media briefing held yesterday over the fuel imports are baseless. The Ceylon Petroleum Corporation has further indicated legal action will be taken against MP Dayasiri Jayasekara over the false and baseless statements made in this regard. The statement issued by CPC has indicated that the corporation will always adhere to tender procedures and government-approved procurement procedures for fuel imports while ensuring quality and maintaining lower rates in the procurement process. The statement has further indicated that the corporation will extend full support to any investigation or legal action regarding the procedure. CPC has also indicated legal action are being taken against similar false statements made by the corporation last week. Telecommunication Regulatory Authority has indicated that complaints have been lodged over consumer price rates revisions by telecommunication companies. The Commission has indicated these companies should obtain their permission to make such revisions. Dialogue Axiata PLC, on invitation of Ministry of Power and Energy Ministry of Tourism, partnered with Sampath Bank PLC, launched the Tourist Fuel Pass that would enable tourists visiting Sri Lanka to obtain fuel without standard quota restrictions. The Tourist Fuel Pass is a NFC-based tourist value card that can be purchased on foreign currency at any Sampath Bank outlet. Tourists can purchase the Tourist Fuel Pass at any Sampath Bank branches island-wide, including the outlets at airport arrival. The Tourist Fuel Pass is powered by Touch Fuel Petroleum platform developed by Militarium ESP. Minister Kanchan Vijayasekara and Harin Fernando were present at the occasion. Minister Ali Sabri says that Sri Lanka categorically rejects the new resolution against the country passed at the 51st session of the UN Human Rights Council.
Accordingly, the new resolution was passed with 20 countries voting in favour, while 7 countries voted against. Meanwhile, 20 member nations abstained from the vote. The draft resolution, titled Promoting Reconciliation, Accountability and Human Rights in Sri Lanka, was initially sponsored by the core group on Sri Lanka, including the United Kingdom, the United States, Germany, Canada, Malawi, Montenegro and North Macedonia. 20 countries, including the United Kingdom, the United States, France, Finland, Germany, Mexico and Netherlands, Poland and the Republic of Korea voted in favour of the resolution. Meanwhile, 7 countries, including China, Bolivia, Pakistan, Uzbekistan, Venezuela, Cuba and Eritrea, voted against. The resolution requests the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights to enhance its monitoring and reporting on the situation of human rights in Sri Lanka, including on progress in reconciliation and accountability and on the human rights impact of the economic crisis and corruption. The new resolution also expressed concern over the human rights developments since April 2022, including violence against and arrest of peaceful protesters, as well as violence against government supporters, resulting in deaths, injuries, destruction and damage to houses of MPs. Meanwhile, Minister Ali Sabri, representing the Sri Lanka at the 51st UNHRC session, made submissions over the new resolution.
With this council on multiple fronts. It is yet another example of the unfortunate divisions and polarization of this council, which is contrary to its founding principle that, I quote, "The work of the council shall be guided by principles of universality, impartiality, objectivity and non-selectivity, constructive international dialogue and cooperation." Sri Lanka categorically rejects the draft resolution HRC/51/L1 presented without our consent, despite our effort to engage with the main sponsors. While this resolution may meet the objective of advancing the domestic political consideration of the sponsors, it manifestly unhelpful to Sri Lanka. We call on the members of this council to reject it by a vote. The list of co-sponsors of the draft resolution amply demonstrate its divisive nature. Last year, many countries braved intense pressure by powerful sponsors and opposed resolution 46/1 or abstained in the vote. This year, here we thank the countries from Asia, Africa and Latin America who supported Sri Lanka during the informal consultation on this draft. Sri Lanka categorically rejects the resolution, particularly proposal in OP8. As we have repeatedly stated, this so-called external evidence gathering mechanism will have wide-ranging legal and political implications for all countries. Such unprecedented and ad hoc expansion of the mandate of the Council and the functions of a technical secretariat were never envisaged when this Council was established. No sovereign state can accept the superimposition of an external mechanism that runs contrary to the Constitution and which prejudges the commitment of its domestic legal processes. The Council may take note of this. Many countries have already raised serious concern on the budgetary implication of this resolution given its ever-expanding mandates. This is an unhelpful and misdirected drain on the resources of all member states, including the donors, in the midst of an ongoing global crisis. In sharp contrast, we are faced with the dire financial needs of our developing countries to prevent hunger and child malnutrition. We strongly object to the draft resolution pronouncing on domestic economic and financial policy matters which are outside the framework of this forum. Solution to economic and financial crisis faced today by many countries will not be found in the mandate, instrument or expertise of this Council. Further, it is deeply regrettable that this rambling resolution running into several pages ignores the institutional and political stability restored in Sri Lanka, despite the significant political and social challenges. As I outlined in my previous intervention, Sri Lanka remains firmly committed to pursuing tangible progress on human rights throughout our domestic institutions. This includes replacing PTA with a comprehensive national security legislation, the introduction of a constitutional amendment, and a legal framework to strengthen the democratic governance, participation, and rule of law, as well as independent institutional oversight. On reconciliation and human rights, the contours of a domestic truth-seeking mechanism is under advanced discussion as we await the final report of the Presidential Commission. We are of the firm view that any solution should be within the constitutional framework of a sovereign Sri Lanka. On our further engagement with this Council, we look forward to domestic consultation in preparation for upcoming UPR process. Today, Sri Lanka is making gradual and difficult progress in resolving severe financial situation we are facing. Globally, it is clear that the causes for the prevailing economic crisis affecting all countries are not entirely internal, but also external. We are deeply concerned about many hardships faced by our people and have made provisions for the necessary social protection measures. Sri Lanka has overcome many challenges in the past. We have ended decades of separatist terrorism, successfully managed the human health dimension of the pandemic, and despite economic challenges, succeeded in maintaining a high rank in the Human Development Index, which is the highest in the region. We aspire to build on the economic, political, and social stability restored in the recent months with the support of all our people, including through outreach to the overseas Sri Lankan, in a just, fair, and inclusive society which realizes the full enjoyment of the human rights and fundamental freedom. In these circumstances, it is regrettable that this resolution has been tabled. The North-South divide is clearly reflected in the consideration of this resolution as well as in the voting results of the previous resolution on Sri Lanka. For all the above reasons, Sri Lanka rejects this draft resolution and requests the members of this Council to reject this resolution by a vote.
Now we can see that the 51st session of the Human Rights Council in Geneva is nearly coming to an end. On the 6th of October, that means today, the Human Rights Council is going to table a resolution against Sri Lanka. So once again, it is titled as Promoting Reconciliation, Accountability and Human Rights in Sri Lanka, sponsored by the United Kingdom, United States of America, Germany, Canada, Malawi, Montenegro and North Macedonia. So this resolution is based on Human Rights Council's resolution passed in March 2021 with some additional points. So if you're looking into what those additional points are, so those points includes an investigation into the impact of corruption on Sri Lanka's economic crisis and the repression of the protest movement. Question is, if this resolution goes on vote, is it decided? It is going to be decided against Sri Lanka's favor or not? First question is Sri Lanka would agree with the resolution? Definitely no. Why I am saying no? Because I heard that the Foreign Minister Ali Sabri correctly stated a few days ago, it is against our constitution and we have to respond to that. We are not going to agree on that. Whether we will win or lose, there are things on which we cannot compromise.
Meanwhile, Minister Susil Premajan says Korean language is expected to be included among the foreign languages in the entrance examinations of the universities in Sri Lanka in 2023. The minister made these remarks while taking part in the commemorative ceremony held yesterday to mark the Korean National Day. The Korean National Day is also known as the Foundation Day, celebrated on October 3rd. The Korean National Day celebrates the legendary formation of the first Korean state of Joseon in 2333 BC. Celebrating this day, the Embassy of the Republic of Korea in Sri Lanka organized a ceremony, and the chief guest was Minister Susil Premajanth. The ceremony was organized under the guidance of the Korean ambassador in Sri Lanka, Santos Wonjin. Public representatives, diplomats and other officials were present at the occasion.
Today, Korea is not only one of Asia's economic powerhouses, but also a global leader in industrial and digital innovation. Our bilateral relations, which mark the 45th anniversary this year, continue to grow over the past 4 decades with the ever-increasing areas of cooperation. The government of the Republic of Korea remained consistent and invaluable development partner of Sri Lanka, contributing to the development priorities of the government. The Sri Lankan government has taken initiatives to adopt the Korean language for advanced level classes from 2021 onwards, and to introduce Korean language as a subject among foreign languages of the university entrance examination from 2023. I would like to express our deep appreciation to the government of the Republic of Korea for providing a much needed employment opportunities and for looking after their welfare. I also wish to convey our gratitude for the recent printing paper donations by the Korean government and the community to the Department of Examination, and valuable and generous donations granted by the government of Korea to reinforce our efforts to manage the spread of COVID-19 outbreak.
Today, Korea has risen to the 10th largest economy and the 7th biggest exporter in the world. That the relations between our two countries have continued to evolve and develop in a whole spectrum of fields of mutual interest. KOICA has conducted numerous projects with pivotal strategic goals such as education, environment, transportation, water resources, etc. I truly believe that as a reliable friend, trustworthy partner of Sri Lanka to meet the current needs of international development. Also, Sri Lanka is one of the top 5 nations to benefit from Korea's Economic Development Cooperation Fund, EDCF. The ongoing labor cooperation is a very meaningful and important aspect of bilateral relations. Around 25,000 Sri Lankan migrant workers are presently employed in Korea, contributing to the economies of both countries. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, they have transmitted around more than $500 million to Sri Lanka in 2019. Sri Lankan employees in the Republic of Korea, a very, very important asset to strengthening our two countries. I don't want to use the expression crisis, challenge, only challenge we have. Sri Lanka, Korea, all countries now facing challenges. Challenge is another chance. Now is the time to realize the potential of this beautiful country and achieve our common goals together. I can humbly mention that Korean dramas, movies, music, and cuisine have attracted a global audience. K-dramas such as 대장금, you know 대장금, as Sujata Diani, and the award-winning movie Parasite have made Korean culture more popular throughout the world, including in Sri Lanka.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe says the government is bound to fulfill its responsibilities to teachers and their profession.
The President has also said that at this juncture, the government is preparing for a prosperous future for children, and he hopes that the teachers shouldering the responsibility of guiding them will fulfill their responsibilities appropriately. The President made these remarks while issuing a message on the World Teachers' Day. World Teachers' Day is an international day held annually on October 5th. Established in 1994, it commemorates the signing of the 1966 UNESCO recommendations on teachers worldwide. Sri Lanka celebrates the National Teachers' Day today in commemoration of World Teachers' Day. On the day, teachers are bestowed with special appreciation over the contribution extended to the educational service, and special attention is directed to identified rights and responsibilities of the teachers and resolve issues pertaining to the teaching profession. Teachers fulfill a great service in extending their knowledge to shape the future world. Therefore, teaching profession is considered as one of the greatest professions in the world. President Ranil Wickremesinghe, in a message to mark the World Teachers' Day, said that among the greatest professions in the world, teaching is the foremost, as teachers guide children and nurture them to be successful and good citizens, as well as leaders in the nation system and in day as the government, the president said that they are bound to fulfill the responsibilities of the teachers and their profession. In the message, he recalled the measures taken to protect the dignity of the teaching profession during his tenure as the Minister of Education by suspending political appointment of teachers and established a college system. He has also indicated that the opportunity was extended for teachers to learn English through special training, especially by interacting with the developed world. In his message, he has indicated his expectation for the teachers who shoulder the responsibility of guiding children will fulfill their responsibilities appropriately when the government is preparing for a prosperous future for children. A felicitation ceremony was held to commemorate 135 school principals marking the World Teachers' Day. The event was held with the participation of Minister Susil Premchand today at the Ministry of Education premises. The principals were selected representing all 9 provinces in the country.
The first poppy flower was pinned on President Ranil Wickremesinghe at the occasion of the remembrance of the Poppy Day, which was held this afternoon at the Parliament premises. The President, Poppy Committee of Sri Lanka, Ex-Servicemen's Association Major General Ruan Manigasuriya pinned the first poppy on the President. The Sri Lanka Ex-Servicemen's Association annually organizes Poppy Day to remember the fallen war heroes of the world wars and raise funds. The funds will be spent on the welfare of the families of the fallen heroes and disabled soldiers. The General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Ex-Servicemen's Association, Lieutenant Colonel Ajit Siambala Pittiya, and other officials participated at this event. The registration of beneficiaries for the restructured welfare benefits program initiated by the government for vulnerable individuals and families affected from the prevailing economic crisis has commenced.
The President's office has indicated that the program has been initiated as a national responsibility without any racial, religious or party discrimination and without any ulterior motive to promote any political party or individuals. Steps have been taken to initiate the program to covering 3.1 million families as welfare beneficiaries. The beneficiaries already listed and is in the waiting lists of the public welfare programs, as well as those who have been impacted by the present economic crisis and waiting for the government welfare assistance have been included for this program to provide necessary assistance. The program will be initiated under 6 phases. Those who are eligible for the relief program will be registered under the first phase of the project. Accordingly, applications have been called through national newspapers and website www.wbb.gov.lk. The President's office has requested for the assistance of the youth to expedite the registration process.
The Colombo Stamp Show 2022 commenced today. The exhibition was opened with the participation of Minister Bandula Gunawarddena. The Colombo Stamp Show 2022, organized by the Postal Department marking the World Postal Day, will be held until October 9th at the Postal Headquarters premises. The commemorative stamp and the first day cover issued marking the centenary celebrations of Sri Lanka athletics today. The first day cover and the commemorative stamp were presented to Minister Bandula Gunawarddena by Postmaster General Ranjit Ariyaratne. The value of the commemorative stamp is 15 rupees. State Minister Shanta Bandara and Rohana Disanaika and Secretary of the Ministry Anusha Palipitiya were present at the occasion.
Now, a global alert has been issued over 4 cough syrups after the World Health Organization warned they could be linked to the deaths of 66 children in the Gambia. Indian authorities have said that they have requested the WHO to share evidence of the link between the syrups and the deaths. The World Health Organization has identified the medicines as promethazine oral solution, Cofex Malin baby cough syrup, Macov baby cough syrup and Magrip N cold syrup. The products were manufactured by an Indian company, Maiden Pharmaceuticals, which had failed to provide guarantees about their safety, the WHO added. The 4 products had been identified in the Gambia but may have been distributed through informal markets to other countries or regions, the WHO added in its alert. It warned that their use may result in serious injury or death, especially among children. The WHO's intervention came after medical authorities in the Gambia detected an increase in cases of acute kidney injury among children under the age of 5 in late July. The Gambia's government has since suspended the use of all paracetamol syrups and has urged people to use tablets instead. Meanwhile, Minister Kelly Rabukwala said the controversial cough syrup have not been imported into Sri Lanka. That's all the news from home. Stay tuned for international stories coming up next.
Prima Kotumi hot and spicy cricket. KTM his Senate Sashi Pekatue Amka Satankara. Visituna Hatilisuna SMS Karan. Rupial Delaksh Panas Daga Mudal Tiagi Atulutavad. Vatina Tagi Dinapata Dinagan. November Tihada Papamana.
Prima Kotumi Fantamai.
Now on to foreign news. President Vladimir Putin has signed a final paper to annex 4 regions of Ukraine. Even the Russian military suffered further setbacks. The Luhansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhzhia and Kherson regions are accepted into the Russian Federation according to the documents, but 2 of those areas, Luhansk and Kherson, in Ukraine said has been retaking more villages. President Putin also signed a decree to formalize Russia's seizure of the nuclear power plant based in Zaporizhzhia. However, Western media has indicated that Ukraine forces making gains in both south and east. Ukraine authorities have indicated 6 villages in the region have been recaptured. President Zelensky has also said Ukraine had liberated 3 more villages in the southern region of Kherson.
Prima Kotumi Fantamai.
Now, Australia was able to secure a 3-wicket victory at the first T20 played against West Indies, and it was played at the Carrara Oval Stadium, Australia.
Batting first, West Indies managed to put up 145 runs for the loss of 9 wickets in the stipulated 20 overs. Kyle Mayers scored 39 and Owen Smith scored 27 for West Indies. George Hazelwood picked up 3 wickets for Australia. Australia managed to chase the target in the 19th over and secured victory in the first T20. Captain Aaron Finch scored 58 for Australia.
Prima Kotumi Fantamai.
That's all the news we have for tonight. Do join us tomorrow at 8:50 p.m. for the very latest on Channel I. I'm Delanjali together with Uwin signing off. Good night.
Good night.